Hi, I'm Greg Dell here with attorney Stephen Jessup, and we get questions all the time from people who come to our website or call us on the phone about their case. And the most recent question, Stephen, that I got was, how long does Prudential disability benefits last? And that's a big question that I want you to tackle, and we'll go back and forth a little bit on that. But I understand why someone's thinking, if I'm going to file, how long are these benefits going to last?
Well, theoretically, the short answer is it can go to age 65, or in some cases, your Social Security normal retirement age, which can take you up to 67. So there is the possibility of that in a general sense, but there are a heck of a lot of caveats that come with that. Prior to starting this, you and I were discussing. I explained I had a situation in a Prudential policy where the policy went and it said along the lines of, if the employee worked for the company for less than 10 years, the maximum benefit period is only the number of years the person was employed. In that case, it was a little over 4 years. So there's a lot of variety in it. Generally speaking, it can go out to age 65 or to your Social Security normal retirement age, or 65 to 67. But like we said, caveats. There's this idea of what that policy language is going to be. Prudential, a standard definition of disability is for the first 24 months, you are disabled if you cannot perform the material and substantial duties of your occupation. Then after that's this idea if you can't perform the duties of any gainful occupation. And Prudential is very, very diverse in their policies, so that can change from policy to policy. So, in that change of definition, they may cut you off, after 24 months. And then you also have the situation that comes down with limitations in the policies. Almost certainly you're going to have a 24-month, maybe less, sometimes more, but generally speaking, 24-month cap if your disability is caused or contributed by a mental health condition. And then now they also have what's known as these neuromusculoskeletal limitations, where they try to limit the payment of benefits for a slew of physical medical conditions. So each policy can really differ and limit how long you may be eligible for. So the short answer is 65 to 67, with a huge but that follows that based on what that policy is going to say.
Okay. And the other thing that is also about how long that's how long in a best case scenario it can last.
Yeah, best case.
But once Prudential approves a claim, how long are they required to pay the benefits for?
Well, that's an interesting thing too. What is this idea of requirement? They would tell you they're only required to pay a benefit so long as you meet the terms and conditions of the policy. So they could one day decide that, we did this review, we don't think you're disabled anymore, and they're done. And hypothetically, a court could agree that they made the right call. So there isn't this necessary idea of a duty. It's a month-to-month evaluation, minimally speaking. We've always said that a disability benefit, each month someone is deciding, are you going to get this benefit? So they can request all kinds of updates for information, claim forms, medical records, have you examined, all that type of stuff. So unfortunately, there's no such thing as a guaranteed disability benefit. If you get on disability, that's the first step. A massive hurdle, yes, but by no means the end of it. You are basically in some type of relationship with the Prudential for as long as you are on that claim.
So, and I know I'm going to catch you off guard with this question, but on your Prudential clients, and from all the people who've called you have been denied, for how long of a period of time do you see Prudential pays a claim before they decide they're going to deny benefits?
I would say it's not off guard. I usually tell people at best a 3 to 5 year shelf life. And that may even be a bit much, because we're going to see a huge increase in denials at that change in definition of disability from own to any occupation, which is generally 24 months. Depending on what the person's pre-disability occupation is, especially since insurance companies like to look at the physical requirements, I find that there's good success in trying to get beyond that 24-month hurdle when you plan in advance. But at some point, Prudential will say enough is enough. Personally, I've had 2 cases, one that I've already resolved some years ago, another one that I was just recently retained to do an appeal. Both of these individuals were exceedingly young when they applied for disability, in their late 20s. Their medical conditions were such that Social Security even approved them. They had wonderful paying jobs, so even after that offset for Social Security, Prudential was paying them a very large monthly disability benefit. They paid them for multiple years, and then you could see it was, in one situation, 4 IMEs, multiple rounds of video surveillance. They said enough is enough, and no matter how much you could throw back at them, it was what I call a strong arm buyout. They're like, we'll see you in court, and we'll maybe look to settle it there. So I would say if you think, you're in your 40s and this policy is going to take you out to 65, 67, historically, from my experience, the chances of that happening are very, very limited. Not to say that if you have an attorney, that's not going to happen, because insurance companies make up in their minds and act. Having legal representation, especially when your claim is denied, can pay incredible dividends down the road, because when we get a claim denial, we're not thinking about just getting this person back on claim. We're thinking about how do we win now and how do we set them up for future success to bulletproof it as much as you can, so Prudential doesn't look to try to, just deny them, at a whim. And then also, even maybe down the road, you could look to try to do some type of, favorable negotiated settlement. But you have to be prepared in a lot of cases that within 5 years, you'll probably find yourself in litigation, just in my personal experience.
Well, what's interesting, though, and you did bring up to say that if you had a lawyer representing you throughout, it can change the dynamic, how long the benefits will last, which is one of the services we offer of the monthly claim handling, where we try to protect our clients' benefits month to month, and we handle every aspect of the claim. But you reminded me of the client I've had for 15 years with Prudential, who since his young 30s has been on disability, and every 3 to 5 years, like you said, they, believe it or not, they send that file out for an outside medical review. They'll, on 2 different occasions, they've tried to cut him off and basically send me these letters from doctors who think he's better, and the guy's still going for blood transfusions. He's got a chronic cardiac condition. Your heart doesn't miraculously get better. And still, I hate, and still, this is a Prudential MO, method of operation. Send it out to somebody, some hack doctor reviews it and goes, no, he should be fine. And every time I get it, I get infuriated. I almost fall out of my chair. I can't believe it. And the client, thankfully, has gotten to the point where he's like, of course they did. And the doctors the doctors get frustrated. But client's not getting a big benefit, $2,000 a month after Social Security, but he can't pay his bills when they try to mess with him. So it creates a lot of stress for the client. But you never let your guard down with Prudential, and certainly you can't assume that just because you get approved, whether it's Prudential or any carrier, that it's going to continue to age 67 just because the policy says that it can. So if you have a Prudential policy and you'd like assistance with your claim or have any questions, no matter what stage you're at, whether you're considering applying, you're on claim now, or your claim has been denied, feel free to give Stephen or myself a call. We help clients all over the country. We've handled well over 1,000 Prudential disability claims. We have a lot of information on our website about Prudential that we encourage you to check out, that you can do simply by doing a search for Prudential. You'll see reviews about Prudential, questions and answers, lots of lawsuit summaries from lawsuits that have been filed all over the country, and cases that we've resolved. So give us a call if you think we can help you, and we look forward to the opportunity to speak with you.